Good evening, everyone. The meeting of the Carson Planning Commission is now officially starting. Thank you for coming. It's good to see everyone. Um, so we'll call it to order and we will begin with our Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll ask Commissioner Guerra if he would lead us in our pledge.
Thank you, Madam. Pledge of Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Madam Secretary, we'll have a roll call.
Madam Sheriff Thomas,
Here.
Vice Chair Diaz is excused. Commissioner Octactazo,
Here.
Commissioner Guerra,
Present.
Commissioner Huff. She's not here yet.
Coming through the door.
There she is.
Commissioner Mfume,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Wilson,
Present?
Commissioner Monteclaro,
Present.
Commissioner Huff. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next, we have oral communications for matters not on the agenda. The public may at this time address the members of the Planning Commission on any matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No action may be taken on non-agendized items except as authorized by law. Speakers are requested to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes each, speaking once. I don't have any cards for non-agendized item. Do we have any speakers?
There are none, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And next, we have oral communications for non-public hearing items listed on the agenda. The public may at this time address the members of the Planning Commission on any matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No action may be taken on non-agendized items except as authorized by law. Speakers are requested to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes each, speaking once. The cards that I have are for all agendized public hearings. So unless there's someone else who wants to speak at this time. Thank you. Next item on the agenda would be the consent calendar, approval of minutes for April 22nd, 2025.
I approve the minutes.
Second.
You move for
Move to
approval.
approve the minutes.
Okay. It's been moved by Commissioner Mfume, second by Commissioner Guerra. You may do the roll call.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, the next item that we have on the agenda is item 7, and the staff is recommending a continuation of this to a future date. I will hear from staff.
With this particular item, we recommend that the council the commission remove it from the agenda, and we'll renotice it when the time is appropriate.
Okay. Yes, so do we need to entertain a motion for that, right? Yes, can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we unagendize or put aside that item until further notice.
I second that.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Huff, second by Commissioner Doc-Dossel. Call for the vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda will be item number 8A, which is a design overlay review. Number 1747-18, conditional use permit, number 107681. And we have a presentation that's going to be given to us by our assistant planner, Richard Garcia. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the Commission,
Again, tonight I will be presenting Site Plan and Design Review 1747-18 and Conditional Use Permit 1076-18 located at 17455 Central Avenue on behalf of Carson Express Car Wash. Our proposed project is a 3,146 square feet in size for the drive-through car wash, and it is proposed on the west side of this property. The drive-through area for the proposed car wash has 2 lanes that can support 5 to 6 vehicles on each lane. 10 self-service vacuum spaces are also incorporated with this project, some new landscaping, and a new trash enclosure for the property. Here we can see some site information. The general plan land use designation is corridor mixed use, or CMX for the abbreviation. At the time of the submittal for this project, when it was deemed complete, the zoning designation for the property was general commercial. The site size is approximately 2.5 acres, about a little over 110,000 square feet. Present use for the property is a Chevron gas station and a McDonald's restaurant. Surrounding uses and their zoning designations: to the north of this project is the 91 freeway and Albertoni Street. To the south, we have residential and a commercial plaza designated medium density residential and corridor mixed use. To the east, we have a commercial plaza that's located in the city of Compton. And to the west of this property, we have residential designated medium density residential. Access to this property is along Albertoni Street and Central Avenue. This is an image, a bird's eye view of the project site location. You can see the 91 freeway to the north and Albertoni Street. To the west of this property and south, you see the commercial and the medium density residential that surrounds the property. Here's the same image with a little green square that identifies the location of this proposed drive-through car wash for the property. This is a little more formal. The existing site plan that we have for this property. And here is the same site plan, but now it depicts the proposed car wash. Identified by the numbers that we see here are the 4 driveways that are existing on the site. 2 to provide access via Albertoni Street, which is a one-way street, and then there's 3 and 4, which is along Central. 3 is for vehicles coming down south on Central Avenue, while 4 is a dedicated left turn lane onto the property divided by a median. Here's a close-up to the development. The circles in red identify the entrance and exit to the drive-through car wash, the entrance being at the south end, while the north end is the exit of it. The blue line identifies the 10 vacuum stalls that are proposed for this location. Highlighted in red slightly to the right is the new trash enclosure that is being proposed. To the south is the queuing area that we see, again, 5 to 6 vehicles roughly queued on each lane if needed. And then identified in orange on the left side is the new 10-foot wall by the entrance of the car wash. Here's a quick image of the preliminary landscape plans. Again, these are preliminary, but there's some depictions of some of the plants and trees that are called out on their plans that have been submitted to us, just for some visuals. Here we have a material board that shows our materials that are being proposed for this development. So they're proposing to have a blend of tan and gray precision concrete block and some split face concrete, mirrored glass, aluminum frame, and metal clad awnings for the location. Here's just some renderings that give different views of the proposed car wash. You can see the park side. You can see the new landscaping that's being proposed to prevent graffiti on this big wall that would be present for the location. And then you can see the drive aisle for the vacuum stalls that are proposed. The hours of operation for this project are restricted by our municipal code, section 9138.14, Monday through Sunday, so 7 days a week from 8 to 8. Public notice for this project was posted on site. They were mailed to property owners within 750 feet of the property. Agenda was also posted 72 hours before the hearing. And the CEQA for this project is categorically exempt pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures. which consist of construction or location of limited number of new, small facilities or structures. Staff's recommendation is to approve a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Carson finding a SECO exemption and conditionally approving site plan and design review 1747-18 and conditional use permit 1076-18 to develop a new drive-through car wash and related site improvements on a 2.5-acre property that currently contains a Chevron gas station and McDonald's. Thank you, and I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Thank you for your presentation. Had something caught in my throat. With that, to my fellow commissioners, do you have any questions of Planner Garcia? Commissioner
Madam
Guerra?
Chair? Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
There's no discussion. I would like to make a motion.
We have some speakers. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Before our speakers come, I don't really, I just have a statement to make, being that this is definitely in my community. I wanted to go on record that if this project moves forward, we do have the owner's commitment to hire directly from our community to make sure that we're pulling in residents that live around there, providing employment. And I might also add that this particular development hopefully will help us with some of the unhoused people that, and the truck drivers also, that make their home on that property, even so it wasn't as such. Finished with that?
You're complete?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Commissioner Wilson.
I do have a few questions regarding the water system at the car wash. I know that there are similar car washes that basically recycle the water and the infrastructure at the car washes basically do that. And then, so I just was curious about whether this particular car wash was that type.
Yeah, so they do recycle some of the water that gets, and some of it gets cleaned and reused. Don't know the specifics of it. I want to say it's 60 to 70% that would be reused, but the architect is here, and if he has more specifics, he can speak on it.
Okay. Sure. When he presents on it, if he could just, share a little bit more information about how that works. Thank you.
Are you good?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else with questions of our planner, assistant planner? With that, thank you.
Thank you.
I actually have two cards for speakers who will be coming up as we open the public hearing. And one is the applicant, Kevin Nettie. Would you come forward, please? And you have 3 minutes.
Thank you for the commission. I just want to emphasize that we have worked very hard at this project for a very long time. And I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to hear it out. The biggest concern that I would like to mention is that I truly and genuinely want to contribute to the community to create more establishment to replace what's going on currently in the back lot. And if the commission would like me to describe what goes on, I'll be happy to, but it's many illegal activities that is going on for the wrong purposes. I see drug use, I see syringes, I see homeless, I see trucks transferring goods because it's close to the freeway, they exit the freeway. There is a lot of theft going on in the back, and there is a lot of truck drivers that use the area, with all due apology, as a source of prostitution at night. Whoa. So I would genuinely ask you, allow us to develop the area so we can replace one needle for one job, one drug addict that would never be able to use drug in the back area, one prostitution that doesn't go on, and we can create job and contribute and create more safety to the neighborhood. Every development would have some contribution and some substitution. In this case, we will eliminate so many wrong activities that's going on in the back area. And since I came there, I added 60 cameras. I removed about 75% of the crime that was going on in the gas station. 75%. We have been robbed many times, but the number has gone down and down and down and down by enforcing the law. And I would do appreciate to allow us to develop the area for the betterment of the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We also have with us Richard Finkel, who is the architect. And perhaps you can address a question that you
Yeah,
heard asked
absolutely.
earlier.
And good
Yes.
evening.
Thank you.
I would normally have more to say, but Richard did a great job of presenting our project. Recycling with car washes is done by the water that is sprayed on it in a shaded structure, because there's a roof overhead, flows into a trench in the middle of the car wash. There's an outlet drain where that water flows into what's called a clarifier, where all the mud and metals and heavier material settles to the bottom. And the outlet pipe from that clarifier takes the water that is now cleaner because the heavies have settled out of it, and it's pumped back into the car wash where it's being used to do the initial rinsing of vehicles. So when you take your car into any car wash, I don't care if it's R-type or a full serve, the initial rinse of your vehicle is with what you might call dirty water. It doesn't have grit in it. All that is settled out. But that water, which would have just flowed down in the gutter if you were washing your car in front of your garage or in a different type of car wash, that might never have been recaptured. In Mr. Netti's car wash, 70% of the water is recycled. The only time that number goes down is on an extremely hot day when the water might evaporate into the air because it's just hot out. But they're the most ecologically sensitive way to wash vehicles that's out there. Excuse me, someone's contagious, whoever was coughing. So yeah, they're very ecologically sensitive. Obviously, we're very pleased that this project is moving ahead. We were put through the ringer quite a bit. I think the city more than any, and I've done 22 car washes, very sensitive to noise issues, very sensitive to traffic issues. We had to do 2 neighborhood meetings. Dr. Hilton was actually at one of the meetings, which we appreciated a lot. So a lot was asked of us, and I think a lot was delivered with this project. And I think, as Mr. Netti mentioned, it's an area that will benefit a lot. He's been in the neighborhood owned the facility or rented for 12 years, hires local kids, and will continue to hire locals for this project. So I think as much as can be done, this is a great addition to the community. And I'm here for any other questions.
Thank you.
Anything?
Those are the only cards that I have for this item. Are there any of the speakers who perhaps did not get an opportunity to fill out a card and would like to speak at this time regarding this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and I will switch back to my colleagues. Commissioner Wilson, did that answer your question? Yes. So now we're open for discussion. Any comments? Yes, Commissioner Huff.
I have no comments. I'm all ready to make a motion.
Please do. Well, assuming there are no other comments. Seeing none, go right ahead.
There's one comment, I'm told. Oh, I make a motion that we.
First of all, leave it on. Now,
fine.
don't press it again.
I make a motion that we accept and approve Design Overlay Review number 1747-18, Conditional Use Permit 1076118, that we approve the movement of this particular project.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
I request a clarification for Commissioner Huff that the motion is to approve staff's recommendation to adopt the proposed resolution.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I second.
Okay, it has been moved by Commissioner Huff and second by Commissioner Johnson. Madam Secretary, will you call for the vote?
Madam Chair Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Doctoroso,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerra,
Yes.
Commissioner Huff,
Yes.
Commissioner Mfume,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Monteplata.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you very much. I would just like to say to the applicant, having very familiar with the area, having had an opportunity to pass by there many times and doing a head turn with the trucks and all the things that are there, we're very pleased that you're coming to us with this project. Know that the staff took you through a lot of things, but they were all things that they knew we would ask you about anyway. So you did an excellent job of describing why, and we appreciate your concern. And the neighborhood will be better because of it. So thank you so much. Move forward. Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have on the agenda, item 8B, as in boy. And we have our planning manager. Are you doing this or, oh no, it's the assistant planner, Mr. Collins. There you are. Okay. So staff reports. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. As mentioned, I will be presenting minor conditional use permit MCUP 4-25 to permit a social service center at 20630 Leapwood Avenue, Unit F. The table 9212.2 of the Carson Municipal Code requires approval of a minor conditional use permit for a small social service center in the downtown mixed use zone. You can see in the table here that a small is defined as less than 5,000 square feet. This particular unit is 1,629 square feet. There is a definition in the code that we use to determine that this is in fact a social service center, basically less than 24-hour service during normal business hours, and helping disabled or at-risk populations. And we'll go more in detail on what specifically this center is proposing to do. So the applicant is A Better Tomorrow Services. As mentioned, they seek to locate in an existing 1,629 square foot unit at 20630 Leapwood. A Better Tomorrow, they offer a variety of services for young adults with disabilities. This will be the organization's main office, their only office. It'll be primarily utilized for one-on-one training and consultations between the hours of 8:30 and 4 p.m. On the right side here, you can see the kind of the office plan layout. They have a waiting room right here, which is one of the code requirements. And then they have kind of a group workroom station and some office space in the middle there. Here is the map of Carson. You can see where the project is located, just kind of in the center of the city. We'll zoom in here. You can see it's basically right behind the South Bay Pavilion area. This is just kind of a aerial view showing the IKEA is right across the street right here. And then we kind of have existing light industrial uses to the south and east, and then apartments to the north. And here you can see the surrounding zoning. This whole area is zoned downtown mixed use. And then to the east, we have some light industrial. And then you see up further north, there's some low density housing, residential. And then this is, I had that backwards. That's the general plan designations. And then here is the zoning, which they're the same. So not much difference there. And then here's just another view of the project site aerial. You can see I highlighted where exactly this unit is with the red box there. The Better Tomorrow will be taking over the unit. It's currently it was formerly a consulting office. There's not an approved use in it right now. The business is in the tenant space right now. They applied for a business license, and when we did the business license review, we caught that it was the social service center and needed this permit. So that's how this got here tonight. Here's again kind of the view of what the space looks like when the notice was posted. I'll go forward with kind of the analysis here, kind of the general plan consistency. There's this approving this site would be consistent with the general plan and a couple policies. One in the community health, it would strengthen the community's capacity to actively participate in civic life. It would provide a safe environment to live, work, and play for Carson's residents and visitors. And the applicant is meeting all the code requirements, which will help preserve the pedestrian-friendly nature that is kind of the goal of the downtown mixed-use area. And then with going kind of further into the zoning ordinance compliance with parking, as mentioned, the previous use was an office space. It required 3 per 1,000 square feet. And then this social service center, as you can see in the table, it also requires a 3 per 1,000 square feet, so there's no change in parking requirements there. The code also mentions a section specific for social service centers. It's Part 3B, Division 4. There's certain requirements mentioned in there, including provision of the indoor waiting area, hours of operation limitations, security plan requirements such as alarms, staffing, and provision of an emergency contact, litter control, and posted signage of any site requirements through this MCUP process. And then this is with a minor conditional use permit. There's findings that are that staff and the commission needs to find, and that these are all in the resolution that staff is recommending approval on. So I'll just, and then the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. Staff finds that this is this project is exempt because it's an existing structure and the use is not expanding in any way. And then the public notice, here you can see the radius. It was notice was given to 750 feet, within 750 feet of the project, and it was posted 21 days before the public hearing, or before tonight. With that, staff recommends that the commission adopts Resolution 25-2887, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Carson finding a CEQA exemption and conditionally approving minor conditional use permit number 4-25 for operation of a small social service center located at 2063 Leapwood Avenue, Unit F. I'm available for any questions, and we also have the applicant here tonight that can answer any questions as well.
Thank you very much. To my colleagues, any questions of our planner? Seeing none, I just have a quick question because we do have in our package, it's talking about comprehensive security system implementation, Better Tomorrow, Inc. How is that affiliated with? Is that just telling us how they're going to secure the facility, or?
Yes, so that Division 54 for social service centers requires the applicant to submit certain details for their security plan, and they need to provide details for their alarm system and how staff will monitor it. And then that is what it was submitted for this application. And then if you have questions about the alarm system, they talk to me about it at the counter. They can probably talk further about that as well.
No, I just wasn't clear about that. You answered the question because I'm like, so are they going to be selling a security system or what? But no, that's what they will be providing to keep that location safe as they're providing the services to whomever the clients are.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions at this time? Thank you for the presentation. And with that, we will open the public hearing. And I do have one card at this time. This is the applicant, and this is Yasmin Ramirez. Yes, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Good afternoon. I just wanted to say, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here, and I appreciate Jacob presenting this presentation on our behalf. And like he said, we just want to do business in Carson with your permission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this item who did not fill out a card but would like to come forward at this time? Yes. Introduce yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening to everybody.
Good
My name
evening.
is Carlos Mallorquin. I am one of the officers. Jasmine is my sister. My mom is the third owner. She's not here today because she's working. But I do want to say thank you so much. Something that I guess my sister didn't mention is that since we've come to Carson, we actually have been helping out the community of Carson. Something that we do with our clients is that we tend to do a lot of activities with them, one of them being movie nights. And so we'll tend to go to Cinemark across the street. There, the clients will go different restaurants. When we have our staff meetings, we always order locally within Carson. And so, yeah, I feel like we are doing our part to help the community within Carson. Um, I've I used to come to Carson about 20 years ago. I've always loved it, and it's good to know that it hasn't changed a lot. It's a very small business friendly, and hoping that you guys keep it like that moving forward. But I do thank you guys, and hopefully, you give us the opportunity to expand here in Carson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will officially close the public hearing, and the discussion is open for my colleagues. Any comments, questions?
Madam Chair, if there's no comments, I'd like to make a motion. My fellow commissioners, first and foremost, they have comments.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Commissioner Monteclaro.
So this outfit accepts membership from the public that requires a fee, or is this open to anybody?
So before you come up, is it okay? Yes, all right, then come on.
So as far as membership, we don't have membership. We deal with the regional center. So our vendor is South Central Regional Center. They're located in Adams and Western. And so the way it works is that we only deal with individuals that have learning disabilities. And the only way we can work with them is that they're part of the regional center. So the regional center will contact us, let us know, hey, we have a client, would you like to work with him? And then we decide whether we move ahead or we don't. And so our clients, as long as they're within the South Central Regional Center map, we can work with them.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no membership. It's just the regional center gets to decide that.
Now, your clients are exclusively disabled
Learning
residents?
disabilities, yeah. So it can deal from such as Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. I think hopefully you guys don't take this offensive, but I think the proper term is mild mental retardation. Those are some of the ones that we deal with. But again, the only way we can work with them is that if they're a part of the regional center. If somebody just came to us and tell us, could you guys provide services for us? Technically, we cannot do that. Yeah, it would have to be through the regional center.
Have you done this outside Carson, or this is your first in Carson?
We actually had an office in Los Angeles, and then as we were expanding, so luckily, by the grace of God, the company has grown as the years has gone by. We moved to Carson. Love the area. I've always, like I said, I've been in Carson, not lived in Carson, but I used to come in Carson, and so I used to love it. And so Carson is where we found, you can kind of say, bang for a buck as far as office space. And so we used to be on the side of Chick-fil-A, and then just recently we moved to this new one, and it was a bigger space. Our employees have grown over the years, and so yeah. To answer your question, this is the first time we've ever done business in Carson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just wondering, you call your outfit a better tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering why not a better today.
Oh, right. I think the way the name came
Tomorrow
was,
may be too far.
right. I think the way the name came
we're
was
in the
that
present.
we were one day sitting together because hopefully I don't want to bore you guys, but my mom has been doing this for 25 years. And right before COVID hit, my mom decided one day that, you know what, she didn't like the way some of these companies operated. And I think if I was to describe it, I think my mom is the definition of the American dream. Somebody who came from poverty. Like when I tell you poverty is the world country poverty, and for her to start her own business and to see this business grow. I think there's 20 of us right now in the company, and it's an amazing achievement. And it starts with her, and it carries on to my sister, myself, even my niece has started working with us. And so when the name came, I think it was more because a lot of the times when we meet these families, they're in dire need. And so the idea was that, to give them hope that starting, you are right, it should have been better today. But the idea is that starting tomorrow, the life is going to change. And so that's something that we pride ourselves into, is that when we take on a case, it doesn't matter how difficult it is, we are going to do everything we can, not only to change the life of the client, but to the parents as well.
And do you have a process of accepting disabled?
Okay. So let me just help a little bit. They have to go through the central location. They have the process
Okay.
and process whomever to them, which is what he stated earlier.
Yeah. Carson has, I believe, Harbor Regional Center operates in Carson. We are just on the borderline of Harbor Regional Center. But I think based on what we've been told from the regional center, I think we might have to move. But they are giving us the extensions to stay here until at least it's over. And so that for us is a heartbreak. But I think that at the end of the day, when your boss tells you to do something, you gotta do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the
Most people
regional
do.
center is actually the focal point.
Okay.
And they're like a satellite location where the people can come once they've been accepted by the regional center.
Yeah.
And
So
that
it's-
process we're not concerned with.
And just to give you a little bit more, each client has something called a service coordinator. They reach out to us and let us know, hey, we have a client for you guys. I'm not trying to bore you guys, but there's something called package referral. In this package, it tells us everything about the client, their living arrangements, who they live with, their disability.
So you basically get
Their
the
information,
background information.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Thank
so
you.
we take them on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Done.
I just have a quick question. How many, what's the maximum number of clients that you can take?
As long as we have the staff, we're good to go. So right now, A Better Tomorrow has about 95 clients. We started off with 2 clients, and I think around COVID, we were having a hard time getting more staff members. But again, thanks to God, we've been able to hire more people, and so it's been allowing us to be able to take on more clients. So yeah, to answer your question, nobody knows how many clients we'll probably end up with. So hopefully more in the future. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Yeah, I do have a
Commissioner
comment.
Wilson, yes.
I just have a comment. I want to thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
I think it's really important in our communities. In our community, I will speak about Carson in particular. We oftentimes have, family members that have special needs, and it's really difficult to access services because people don't want to come to our communities to provide these services.
Right.
So that we can help our families stay together and also help our family members who are impacted by these disabilities become independent.
Right.
So I just want to thank you because I know that there is a great need in our community here so that we can make sure that we can reach our family members that have disabilities and keep them in our homes and service them in our communities and not have to take them to Torrance
Right.
and all these communities that do offer these services.
And
So thank you.
to piggyback on what you were saying, the issue with us is that if we're not vendor with Harbor Regional Center, then we're not allowed to work with clients in Carson. And sometimes the process of getting vendor is not as simple as people think it is. And it just depends whether the Harbor Regional Center, if they have enough vendors, then politely they'll tell you, what, we're not looking for any vendors right now. And so it's not as we would love to be able to cater to Carson, but unfortunately it's not up to us. It comes down to Harbor Regional Center. Yeah. But like I said, we would be more than delighted to help families provide services for them. Yeah. You're welcome.
Complete?
Yes.
Any other comments? Commissioner Guerra.
Thank you, Madam Chair. as it relates to Agenda 8B, I concur with staff's report and make a motion to approve applicant's minor conditional use permit number 4-25 in the downtown mixed-use zone, a request to utilize their 1,629 square feet of existing office space as a small social service center, which offers a variety of social services for adults with disabilities, which I think is awesome, and is consistent with Carson's general plan and general plan designation. Furthermore, it's located at a great location at 20630 Leapwood Avenue, Unit F as in Frank. Also finding a CEQA exemption for said use pursuant to state CEQA guidelines section 15301, class 1, a categorical exemption for existing facilities. So I am totally excited that we're finally getting a much
Can
needed
we
service.
get to, are we done with the motion?
Yeah, yes.
Can you repeat
Get a
that for the
second.
record? Can you repeat that?
But I'm excited. For the record, I'm complete, Madam Chair.
I second that, that motion. that
And now
recommendation.
our Assistant City Attorney.
Just to clarify that the motion is to approve staff's recommendation to adopt the proposed resolution.
Absolutely.
Thank
I
you.
second the
And
motion.
then second. Thank you.
Thank you. Moved by Commissioner Guerra, second by Commissioner Huff. Roll call, please.
Madam Chair Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Tactazo,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerra,
Yes.
Commissioner Huff,
Yes.
Commissioner Mfume,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Monteclaro.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you very much. All right. Congratulations. Welcome to Carson. We wish you a lot of luck. Okay, next item on the agenda, information update on city's Brownfield Grant Awards. Is that not where we are? Where am I? Oh, Miss C, I'm sorry. Yes, the ZTA. Sorry about that. Okay, public hearing for consideration of a recommendation to City Council regarding zoning text amendment ZCC 02-25.
Good evening, Madam Chair Thomas and Honorable Commission. Makina Alexander, Senior Planner, here to present the item you just mentioned. As an overview, the city's 2021 through 2029 housing element and state housing element law commits the city to update a zoning ordinance to remove barriers to housing production, as well as rezone identified sites in the housing elements housing site inventory to reflect allowable densities in the 2040 general plan. As you mentioned a little earlier, the proposed ZTA is to amend our Phase 1 zoning code to fully comply with these requirements ordered by the state, the Housing Community Development, or acronym HCD, which you'll hear throughout the presentation. As a background, in terms of the items that have taken place over the years, starting in September of 2022, the Plan Commission recommended approval of the draft revision of the housing element that was made in response to HCD's requirements or comments at that time. In November of the same year, 2022, staff modified the housing element and submitted it to HCD and received approval and confirmed compliance with HCD also requiring rezoning actions for full compliance of the document. In April 2023, the Carson 2040 General Plan which included the new land use classification, was adopted by our City Council. The 2040 General Plan obligated updates to the city's zoning code to make sure the consistency with the general plan as required by the state law. March 19th, 2024, the adopted Phase 1 zoning code update focusing on residential and mixed-use areas was adopted. The new Phase 1 zoning code update was submitted to HCD, the state agency, for review and determination of full housing element compliance. Approximately June of 2024, the HCD, they did provide a response and required additional changes for compliance, including making sure that we comply with the government code sections. In July 2024, staff submitted to HCD the proposed changes to the Phase 1 zoning code update as described in the proposed ordinance as one of your attachments, ordinance number 2510. April of this year, HCD accepted the proposed amendment to Phase 1 zoning code, confirming that we met the state requirements. And but however, they also wanted us to include some amendments to our code. So what you're hearing today is a request for adoption of the proposed ordinance that will result in the city having full unconditional certification of the substantial compliance with the state housing element law. Back to specifics regarding the project. Based on the HCD requirements, the zone text amendment proposes necessary changes to 4 Phase 1 sections. These sections include residential district sections 9211.3, which are the development regulations, as well as section 9211.4, the supplemental regulations. The other 2 are for our mixed-use districts, sections 9212.3, which is also the development regulations, as well as section 9212.4, which is the mixed-use district supplemental regulations section. When we look at the analyses, first we need to understand why we're asking for the ZTA. 1 is required by the state, the Housing Community Development. 2, we need to obtain full unconditional certification from this agency. 3, we also need to comply with our state government code and be consistent with our current housing element. With that, the HCD accepted Phase 1 zoning code changes, again, are to the sections that I mentioned earlier. The 2 residential sections, 9211.3, the residential section 9211.3 and the mixed-use section 9212.3, which are both the development regulations. We're asking to add language requiring 20 dwelling units per acre minimum density for residential development on sites that's listed in the housing element, identified as the city's very low or low-income housing needs. This is located in the housing element housing sites inventory. We're also asking, or the request is also towards section 9212.3, mixed-use districts, the development regulations table, to add a new note to the table requiring residential uses to occupy at least 2/3 of the total floor area of a mixed-use development for mixed-use projects located on corridor mixed use, downtown mixed use, and flex zoned sites in the city's housing element, identified again as very low and low income housing on the sites inventory, which again is located in our housing element. Other changes to the code that we're asking for is for section 9211.4, as well as section 9212.4. Both are supplemental regulations for our residential and our mixed-use districts. And we're asking to add subsections B to the residential section 9211.4, as well as a subsection R to section 9212.4. Both are, the language is identifying a 5% reduction in the interim development impact fee for multifamily residential projects that, one, include at least 20% of affordable units for lower income households as defined by state law, as well as located on sites that are identified in our 2021-2029 housing element to accommodate the city's very low or low income housing needs. The fee reduction is in addition to other eligible fee credits or exemptions. So moving forward, their ask is also towards 92.11.4 as well as 92.12.4. The application and approval process for the reduction, we're still on the reduction topic. Application and approval process for the fee reduction will be based closely on as possible to the existing procedures for demolition fee credits, which is found in our existing Carson Municipal Code section 11.800. A project doesn't need to have a demolition component to qualify for this reduction. The fee reduction, in addition to the fee reduction is in addition to other eligible fee credits or exemptions. Now we're moving to environmental or CEQA analysis, as well as certifying that the public notice was done. Since this is a change to the zoning code, the proposed code modifications are required by ACD for compliance with state housing element law and to be consistent with the housing element. It's a CEQA exemption, our common sense exemption, section 15061B3, which states that with certainty, there is no possibility that the adoption of the proposed ordinance may have a significant effect on the environment. One, we're clarifying the minimum density. We're also clarifying the required residential floor area and including a reduction in the interim development impact fees. The public noticing was done in compliance with our code as well as state code. And in conclusion, the proposed amendments to the Phase 1 zoning code update, again, was submitted to ACD, which confirmed, the agency confirmed to staff in April of this year that the changes meet the state housing element law requirements. The Planning Commission's recommendation would, if you were to vote to approve, the proposed code amendment followed by the code adoption is necessary to enable the city to obtain full unconditional certification of the substantial compliance with the state housing element law from ACD. This will also ensure consistency with the city's housing element, reinforcing the city's commitment to meeting regional housing needs and allocation requirements and enforcing broader housing goals. Staff's recommendation to the Planning Commission is to adopt resolution number 252888. And this concludes staff's presentation. Thank you, and we're open for questions.
Thank you. Sorry, I kind of skipped over that. I was moving the meeting right along, but nevertheless, I have a question. Anybody else have any questions before I speak? Good. Okay, so just for clarification for myself, maybe someone else, I don't know. So I know that we have the housing element that's a part of our general plan. And in that general plan, in that housing element, we know that this city has a target that it must meet in order to be in compliance with the state.
Yes.
And so the state initially said, no, we need some other changes to happen, and that's what you're presenting tonight. And one of the things mentioned in there is saying that if a developer comes forth to have a development that 20 units, or was it 20%?
20 dwelling is a minimum of 20 dwelling units per acre.
Per acre, right?
Minimum.
Okay, minimum. But it also talks about the developer being able to receive credits. And so if they get these credits, that could potentially reduce those number of units. Is that accurate?
They're two different concepts.
Okay.
They're not directly related. One is the concept that if a developer brings forward a development project on one of these very limited sites, which are their sites that are identified in the housing element sites inventory to accommodate the city's low or very low. So they were counted on for affordable housing development in the city's housing element, whether that's low income or very low income. Those sites for the zones that are specified, which are the CMX, DMX, Flex, and in some cases maybe the high density residential zones. State law mandates that those developments have a minimum density of 20 units per acre. So part of this ordinance is just clarifying that because HCD wanted the city to make sure that that was stated specifically, since other provisions of the zoning code may have indicated that it could be slightly lower for those sites. Then the other separate concept is that if a developer brings forward a multifamily residential development on one of these same sites, that they would be entitled to a 5% discount on their interim development impact fees that would otherwise apply to the project. So currently, affordable housing units aren't subject to payment of development impact fees, but that would only be, for example, if someone brought forward a project that was 80% market rate units and 20% affordable units, they would still have to pay interim development impact fees on the 80% of the units that are market rate. But now what this is saying is if it's a multifamily residential development on one of these specific limited number of sites, they would get a 5% discount on their development impact fees that they would otherwise have to pay for those 80% market rate units.
Okay. Okay, so it's not actually reducing the number of low income housing that they have to have per acre.
No, it's not. The fee reduction, the interim development impact fee reduction that they would get is not in exchange for
There's no exchange
them
going.
reducing density or anything like that.
Okay.
It's two separate requirements. One is a minimum density requirement. The other is a potential entitlement to a discount in development impact fees. But they don't. One
There's
doesn't
not
depend
one
on the
exchanging
other.
for the other. Okay, they're not going to get some sort of credit for us, whatever they're doing, because that would reduce that number. They're not interchangeable, is what
Right.
I'm hearing.
Those two pieces of this ordinance are not. It's not like one or the other. There's no relationship. Like there's
Okay.
no correlation between the two. Where if one is given, the other is not. They're two separate, independent things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, I had to clear that up. I had to clear that up in my mind. Any other questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I need to make a correction regarding the resolution number. It is a resolution number 2885. It is not 288. Again, the resolution number is
Okay, let me look. Let me get to it, and then I'll be with you. Okay.
the resolution in your staff report packet is correct. In
Oh,
my
it is.
presentation, since
Okay.
now let me clarify that.
then
In
we're
my-
good.
Yes, you're good in your packet.
Okay.
The presentation, I mentioned the wrong number.
All right.
Okay.
Not
Also,
a problem.
the recommendation section in the staff report uses the wrong number, 2888. It's actually 2885.
Yes.
I see what you're talking about. Everybody with that on that? So as we're looking at our screen, it has number 252888, and it should be 2885 is what I
Correct.
mean.
Correct.
Okay. And that's what it says in our resolution here. So we're good. Yes. Everybody on board? Are you complete?
Yes, I'm complete.
And this is a
Yes.
public hearing item, so.
So I need to
Entertain.
open the public hearing.
Yeah.
We will now open the public hearing. I don't have any speaker cards, Madam Secretary, none. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. And we're open for discussion by our commissioners. Any comments? Going once, twice. Let's go.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Huff.
I move that we accept staff's recommendation that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 25-2885 entitled "The Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Carson recommending that the Carson City Council make a finding of applicable of CQ Guidelines Section 15061B3.
And then
And
you
the
turned it off
remainder.
before she could finish reading.
Right in the middle of my meeting. And
Accept staff
and-
recommendation, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
accept staff recommendation. That's
I'll
what,
second that.
25-2885.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly second. Roll call. Second by Commissioner Dr. Ossel.
Madam Chair Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Tactaso,
Yes.
Commissioner Guerra. Yes. Commissioner Huff,
Yes.
Commissioner Mfume,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson,
Yes.
Commissioner Monteclaro.
Yes.
Motion carries 8-0.
Thank you. Okay, now we're for, wait, I guess, I don't know, I see Jacob standing up there. Let me get back to where I need to be. Give me a second here. Love the paper. Okay. Now we're on item 9. Yes, the Brownfield Grant Awards. And we will hear from Jacob.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm
Commissioners.
sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. So as mentioned, tonight I'm going to give kind of an update on brownfield grant activities that staff have been working on. I've been working on this for the last 2 years, kind of laying the groundwork, and then a lot of stuff's going to be happening over the next year. So we're excited to kind of start bringing updates to you guys on kind of what's going on here. So first off, I kind of want to describe what exactly a brownfield is in case you're unfamiliar. Basically, it's any vacant or underutilized property where environmental contamination or it might actually be there, or it might just be perceived. A lot of vacant corner properties, people will see it and just assume that there was a gas station there, and then they don't want to develop there because it's going to be a lot of work cleaning it up. So really, what these grants do is kind of to help people.
Could you get a little closer to the mic?
Yeah, sorry. See, a lot of what these grants help to do is to kind of remove that barrier for developers. It gives them a source of funding to kind of assess if there's contamination there that wouldn't come out of their own pocket. And if there is, they can explore opportunities with the city to potentially get it cleaned up. You see over here, we have some kind of examples of what could be considered a brownfield site. Any like former gas stations, dry cleaners, auto repair, and manufacturing. There's a lot of different potential sites there. So here we have kind of recently adopted city policies. In 2022, City Council declared the city's intention to prioritize remediation and redevelopment of vacant brownfield properties. The Carson 2040 general plan also specifically calls out redeveloping brownfield properties to spur development. And lastly, one of the game changers in the city's newly adopted economic development strategic plan is to assess and clean up brownfield sites and become a national best practice leader in brownfield remediation. So that's what we're working on.
Excellent.
And here's just an overview of the brownfield grants the city has received in the last 2 years. In June 2022, the first grant was received for the Cy West site along Main Street. It was a former landfill property. Um, they completed a preliminary endangerment assessment of the site. DTSC reviewed it and determined that further investigation was needed, so the city applied again for round 2, and they received another grant in March 2024, which is currently being worked on right now. Similarly, the city applied for a grant from DTSC for a housing authority site, Carson Housing Authority, on the corner of Carson Street and Figueroa. We got $150,000 for that. I'll talk more about that site in a little bit. 2 other grants we got were just general community-wide assessments, one from DTSC and one from EPA. These are more general and allow us to kind of assess any property in the city that might be beneficial to the community. And then just recently, this March, DTSC allowed us to amend our round 1 grant for an additional $236,000 because what they're requesting is kind of more than what they anticipated for that site. And then total is $1.926 million that we've received in the last 2.5 years or so. We're also working on some additional grants at a revolving loan fund through the EPA. We should have a decision back on that soon, this spring. And then we're also working to apply for a Brownfield Job Training Act for local Carson residents through the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. The application for that is going to be due later in 2025, anticipated. Then here's the Cy West site. This is kind of the map of what they're doing right now. They're working. So in the first round, they did the preliminary endangerment assessment, and the levels were pretty high. So DTSC is asking for further investigation, and then on this map, you can kind of see where the new holes they're digging, borings, to kind of assess the soil contamination levels coming from the landfill. These ones specifically are around the borders of the property because they're trying to find the extent of the landfill, how far out it might go from the property line. Here's a picture of them. This is on the street north of the property, kind of digging one of the borings to do the soil assessment. And then the other site, Carson and Figueroa, you might have saw them out there. They were there this month, last week, doing the borings that you see on this map here. You can see this is where they mapped out where the gas station used to be on this property. This is the main part here. They had an underground oil storage tank here and the pump stations along the edge here. And then these circles are where they did the borings. And here's pictures of them out there last week doing their assessment. We should have a report back sometime this month on what they found. That was a video, but it was loud.
Sounded like you were drilling.
Yeah, you got to hear it there. Okay, and then the community-wide assessment, I'll talk a little bit about that. It basically we've used it already to assess city-owned properties. We've done 2 other housing authority properties, or I'm not sure if they're housing authority, but they're city-owned properties, Main and Torrance, and then a parking lot just south of Dominic's Pizza on Avalon Boulevard. This community-wide assessment would also allow us to assess any private properties. It's really something that we're going to start working towards now, is outreach to private property owners. Anyone that might be interested in redeveloping their property, we have funding available, and we want to let them know that it's an opportunity. And this picture is of the Civic Center. They're currently out there right now doing assessment. You might see the cones in the parking lot, or they're all around right now. And then here is a flyer that we're working. It's still preliminary, but this is what we have at the moment for property owners. And then the last component is, as I mentioned, community outreach and engagement. We have a lot of different aspects of this, and it's all funded through these grants. We are working with CSUDH to kind of put this all together. They're helping us form a Brownfield Advisory Committee to advise staff on outreach and site prioritization. We're also we have a Carson resident site nomination form. So if residents around the city have particular sites they think might qualify for this funding and they want to be on our radar, they can go on. We have a QR code. They can go on and let us know about it. And then lastly, we're working to put together a Carson Brownfield inventory, kind of sites that are kind of going through cleanup, whether it's through us or, maybe it's the state has an agreement with someone to clean up their property, because there's a lot of publicly information that can be hard to find. And then here's just the Brownfield Advisory Committee. A lot of different sectors are going to be involved, from health to universities and city staff, commissions. We're modeling it after San Diego State University. They have a successful committee that they've also done through the EPA grants. They do it for National City, and we're hoping to bring that to Carson. And then, again, here's the Brownfield inventory, just some examples. There's multiple maps online that the state run that shows like what's going on properties, but it can be a little hard to find and know what you're looking at unless you're familiar with it. So we think it would be nice to have something that's maybe a little easier to read and available. That way staff can, or Carson residents can keep up to date on what's going on all these properties.
Yes, thank.
And then this is another form that CSUDH or another flyer that CSUDH helped us work on that's kind of catered more towards residents, just letting them know that this program's here and they can help us find sites that might be good for consideration of funding. And then lastly, here's the QR code in the Brownfield site nomination survey that we have. And that's all I had. If you guys had any questions, I can help answer.
Oh, I know we have questions. Anybody want to go first before I go?
I'll go.
Yes, Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Just to more widely distribute the information, I actually saw the QR code in our Carson magazine. I know what a brownfield is, but it's not widely known. So when you ask the public to identify something, it might be helpful to give them a little more context. Like even your initial flyer was super helpful, just showing what might be considered a brownfield, or what might be perceived as a brownfield. And also did want to ask to clarify, are the housing authority sites like successor agency sites, like city-owned sites?
Our special project manager, James Nguyen, is here. He's the one that manages that side of it.
Okay.
Do you want to?
I just didn't know if those were.
Yeah, I don't know that. I'm
interchangeable
not sure the
terms.
exact details to it. Just wanted to make.
Hello, Honorable Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Yes, so the Housing Authority lot that Jacob showed with the borings, that one is Housing Authority owned. That's not successor agency owned, but that one, the Housing Authority did purchase from the successor agency in 2018. There's only one site that is owned by the successor agency. Actually, there's only one site that's owned. The successor agency only owns one site, and that's the Dominic's Pizza lot. That's the only property that's on the long-range property management plan that is still owned by the successor agency. And that's also being assessed as part of this effort.
Understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
You good?
I'm complete.
Okay, so first of all, there's a process, obviously, for the grants. And that process, how many grants are given each year?
So the DTSC grant was it was supposed to be 3 rounds, but it sounded like the third round got cut. So I think for the foreseeable future, there's no more funding from DTSC. Now EPA, I believe they do a round every other year. So I think there should still be funding every other year available from EPA.
Okay. So in the 3 round, you go. Everybody is in first round. Then if you don't get cut, you make it to the second, and then on to the third. Or
so it's more so you have a separate opportunity to apply each round. So like if, let's say if someone didn't apply the first round, they could still apply the second round.
Ah,
We just have happened to apply each round.
so by the third, we're in there every round, which is good, which is good. The property that is located at Carson and Figueroa and Maine and Torrance, which is identified as Carson, the city of Carson owns that property. So are those properties, are they considered to be brownfield now? And I'm asking because I know that in the past there were, I don't know, rumors or conversations about certain entities actually building on that land. For example, on Main and Torrance, at one point the fire department was interested in going there. And, you know, I've been around a long time, so I've heard a lot about, I remember when we purchased them.
So for the purpose of this grant, the definition for brownfield is very broad.
Okay.
Anything that's perceived as having contamination.
So if it's blight, it could be considered brownfield. If it has not been developed, it doesn't necessarily have to be a form of service station or.
And it doesn't even have to be on site. It could be off site. And the Main and Torrance property is located very close to landfills and a former refinery. So
it's located near it, so that makes it qualifiable.
Because the methane could, you know, leach onto
seep on, yeah,
seep under
okay.
to the
Migration of
adjacent
methane.
properties. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I was just curious because I'm like, okay, how could that have been a brownfield when they were actually planning to build at one time? And the only reason they didn't was because they say we can't afford to, kind of thing. And I was also thinking about the Carson and Figueroa location as well. Okay. I'm on the same page with Mr. Johnson because when you showed that map, if you go back to the map, that's the state map. That looks like all of Carson is brownfield. That's over there where I live. You know, that's where we live, and we know that in the early days of Carson, there was a lot of oil drilling that took place before they began selling that as residential land. So what are you hoping to do with this map now? Because our houses are built on there. And one of the biggest battles we had was with an oil company that wanted to come back and frack under there. So we had fun with them. Yes, we did. But nevertheless, we prevailed. And we will continue to prevail because that's where our homes are. So we're not saying to the public that under your house is a brownfield situation with this map, are we? Because it should have all been cleaned up before we were allowed to purchase it as residential property.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of what our Brownfield Advisory Committee is going to work out the details on. Right now, we kind of have the foundation set up. We know this is something that we kind of have the capacity to do, but it's like you said, we want to work out the details and make sure it's done right. We don't want to make anyone scared to come to Carson or scared to live in Carson.
Thank you, because that's scary.
Yeah.
So as I look at the Shell property that's on Del Amo and Wilmington, and I'm like one block north of Del Amo, and so as you would be looking in my area, you would be looking for migration of methane or whatever coming from the Shell property as an example.
So you're saying from the Shell property, if we're looking at methane, not unlike the public.
Anything north of Del Amo, near the Shell, because that's where you are.
Mm-hmm. The methane, like I said, I'm just
you don't know
working
because you
I'm
haven't
on
seen it.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to give you it's something to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And as back in the day when we would look at these maps, you know, as we were dealing with the oil company at that time, this was one of our major concerns, and this is why we prevailed in stopping them from doing what they wanted to come back and do.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is there's a goal to public outreach and education on like this is here, but a lot of things have been put in place to make sure it is okay, and it's a matter of if the question ever does come up, then we'll know how to answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to see that you are on top of this and have been for 2 years, and encourage our staff, our city to continue to do this, because Carson does have quite a history with refineries. And we know that there's some things still happening with them, and to be able to get grants to help develop these areas is a major, major coup. So that's all the questions that I have. Anybody think of anything else?
I was just gonna mention for clarity, I've seen these maps. It looks like the EnviroStar website. Usually when you click one of these, it kind of gives you the updated status of like fully remediated or in process, but it does look scary.
Very ominous. Very. So yeah, so we'd like to see that cleared up, so that when people look at Carson, in the fight that we have been in for years and years and years, the first thing that comes out when you say Carson is they have the worst environment of any other city in the South Bay area, and especially being located between how many freeways? 4, at least 4 major freeways, et cetera, et cetera. Our air quality is the absolute worst. Our water is the absolute worst. I mean, we've heard all these conversations. So, say what? So we're trying to improve our image with that, and I think we've made leaps and bounds in going in the right direction. So this work is absolutely needed. So thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Keep us posted. Appreciate that. Okay. Are we at the end of this agenda now? Good Lord, I feel exhausted. With that, we'll go to our manager's report.
Thank you. First thing I want to say, I don't say this often, but my team is outstanding. The team that you see and the team that you don't see, from top to bottom, they're great. They're a great team to work with. So thank you to the team. I would also like to say thank you to the commission for the work that you do. This is difficult work, and keep up the good work. And I'm saying that to say, yeah, it's gonna.
We got more to come.
So
it's good.
To whom much is given. But so it's interesting that it's almost summertime, and so we'll make sure that your summer nights are filled with a lot of great reading material. And we're going to start our public outreach for phase 2. And so we're getting some dates together. I hope to be to you by June, but I mean that's the goal. But we have to make sure that the logistics are right as well. And so we'll be sending out those notices to stakeholders. You are the stakeholders, or you're some of the stakeholders. And so get ready, get ready, get ready. Planning never stops.
That's a good thing. We have a lot to do before 2028, so.
I'm complete.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, commissioners. Let's see. It's so great to have Commissioner Wilson back. We will start with her. Do you have any comments?
The only comment is I'm really excited about the Olympics coming to Carson. Yeah, I ride my bike or my scooter through Cal State, Dominguez, and I see the velodrome there, and I've gone in, and it's just really an amazing place. The entire, basically, university and the facilities is really great, so I think that's going to be really exciting for us here in Carson. Yeah, but I don't have any comments. I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Commissioner Doc Dossel.
Good evening, everybody. For all the mothers, belated Happy Mother's Day. I shouldn't say belated, it should be every day of the year, right? But I do echo the sentiments of our colleagues in terms of Carson being, an exciting time. I know we talked about a little bit of scary stuff in terms of what has happened to Carson in the past, but I'm glad to be part of the team that's working, for a better tomorrow, as was mentioned earlier. But not just tomorrow, but a better today, right? And yes, the Olympics that 2028, that's something to look forward to. But we do have work before that, and 2040 we have more work before that too. So I'm just glad to be part of an amazing team that's putting in the work necessary for that. And one more thing, I do want to share with the community. We're in the final stages of preparation for the big festival happening in City of Carson, which is the Philippine Independence Day celebration on June 7th. It's going to be at Veterans Park. It's a full day celebration. It should be an amazing time. So if you're in the area, come through. That completes me. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Huff.
Good evening again to everybody, and all I can say is ditto, ditto, ditto. This is a wonderful place to be, and we are growing by leaps and bounds. All we see is applications for new buildings, for new residents to come into Carson, no matter how bad they say the environment is, they're still wanting to come in, and they're paying market price to get in here too. So it's wonderful to sit here, wonderful to be a part of this commission, and we certainly do expect that you will keep your word in bringing more work to us. And actually looking at 2040, do you realize that's 15 years from now? The Olympics we're already looking at is right here too. I mean, we don't have to worry about, I guess, job assignment or anything else. Just keep on waking up and doing what we're supposed to do. But I agree with Mr. Palmer. This is a dynamic duo in here. It really is. It works very well, machine, and I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm complete.
Thank you, Commissioner Guerra.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. I don't know if our manager could provide a response to my inquiries. A status in regards to the outlet mall surveillance cameras. Also, that would be number 2.
I'll bring it back. I can't answer that now.
Okay.
I'll return with the answer.
Thank you. By the way, the methane gas that you mentioned, I don't know how long you've been here, but the Northridge earthquake really shook my home, and strong odors of methane. So I'm just wondering, is that ever going to be addressed? Because it's obviously beneath the surface. So, not trying to scare people. Our home prices are increasing tremendously, so we're doing good. However, the migration of methane that you mentioned, that should be addressed, and I'm complete, Madam Chair.
Well, I think that's why we're happy that Jacob Collins is working on this, and they will be able to do some ground testing and give us more information on it. By the way, I've been here 54 years. I'm an original homeowner. So, yeah.
Got you by 1 year, 55.
Oh, please. No.
I got to pop my collar.
Okay. Commissioner Monteclaro.
Well, the other day, I sent text messages to friends and family and gave them a great news that come August this year, the Carriage Crest Park will be opened.
Yes.
And this it will house basketball courts, baseball, soccer, and other sports. And I told them that this may be if it may be interesting to you to invest in Carson, a city of, a fast-growing city in Southern California. So I've been here for 40 years, less than 15 years than Mr. Commissioner get, and 54 years less from our chair. Uh, so I'm encouraged by the applicants today bringing more businesses to Carson, and I believe that 2025 and will be a great year for Carson, and especially in 2028 when we, have the Olympics over here. I'm complete.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Happy to serve, happy to see business and development coming to the city. Excited for today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Commissioner Mfume?
I too am happy to serve. I'm very, just want to say I'm really proud to be a Carson resident. The applicants tonight, they're bringing some good things to Carson, and that makes me really happy. Now, the brownfield, that is pretty scary, and I'm glad that we're addressing that and putting the information out to the public, because I'm sure a lot of people don't really know what that is. So educating the public and the community is really a good thing. I'm glad to see fellow commissioners. We missed you guys our last meeting, but Miss Alexander done a wonderful job. So I appreciate her. Yeah.
Yes.
So, anyway, thank you, and I'm complete.
Thank you. So I did all of that. Your staff is amazing. Our staff is amazing. And it shows when you can be gone and Ben can be gone and all of y'all can be gone and we still have a meeting. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But much appreciated. Yeah, the brownfield has always been an issue. And I was so deep in it, so I'm very familiar with it. But I was here for the Northridge earthquake. Let me think about that a minute. No, they were building my house that I was going to move in. That was before, I think. No. When was the Northridge? Oh, then I was here. Well, my house stood up quite well, so I had to think about it. I had to think about where I was working at the time. But anyway, Carson is great. And people who moved away, friends of mine whom I have seen recently regret having sold their places, their homes in Carson and moving away. They said that was the biggest mistake they ever made. So I'm still here, and Lord willing, I'll still be here. But before I hit the gavel, Assistant City Attorney, do you have any comments?
Nothing for me. I want to thank you all for your service and wish you a good night.
Y'all heard him say good night. This meeting is adjourned. It's like, let's go. I'm with you on that. Oh, God, I'm tired.